So it's Dolores again with another video, and we are doing a tag. Yes, I am wearing a brace. Just to preface, my wrist hurts, but it's also nano, and I'm pushing through the end of my book. So yeah. Plus, also remember, I'm a gamer, and you use the same things. Yeah. Okay. Um. So we are going to be doing the Thanksgiving writing tag. I have my tablet instead of my notebook because I answered the questions on here, and it's probably not good for me to write in the little tiny book that I was using before. Thoughts? Yeah, but okay. So we are doing the Thanksgiving writing tag. It was originally created by Mari Suggs, something. I'll link her down below. And I think I found this from Holly Davis. I think she was the one that I had seen it on. Yeah. But I wanted to do, actually originally found it last year, wanted to do it last year, and I couldn't manage it. But this year I did not do a Halloween tag or like a fall tag. I did those last year. So I was like, you know what? Being, if you watch any of my vlogs, some stuff happened right at the beginning of fall, end of summer. So I didn't have time for that. I just kind of advertised that I had those tags, and we have a new tag for Thanksgiving for fall this year. So let's get into it. So, question number 1. Turkey. What is the main course in your books? So, I will admit, I didn't rewatch any of the videos for this, and I just went off of what I thought. So if I'm interpreting any of these wrong, sorry. But I interpret it as what is the main course in your books as like the big deal. It's usually defeating the big bad is what I've had so far. So I interpreted that as defeating the big bad, which is really what I do. I truly enjoy the classic like hero's journey defeating big person. But a couple of my newer ideas that I've come up with is much more of recently. It's much more of like an internal big bad of a more, because I'm thinking of going into the romance more genre deeper. A lot of that is more like internal problems, emotional problems, couple problems. So I guess getting over problems and defeating a big bad, which can still be about problems, because really the Princess and the Warrior, as much as it has to do with defeating the Dark Elf King, Velen, it also has a lot to do with Kira, my main character, Princess Kira, um, being fully confident in herself, but also knowing that she's not, and it being okay. And there being this balance of you can still be a strong, powerful woman, but it's okay to feel weak at the same time. There is a balance. You don't have to be one or the other. No one is, and it's okay. As long as you have a good, strong, like support group around you, even if it's not who you thought it was. So, yeah, I guess issues being strong together, because yeah. Question number 2. Oops, 2. Stuffing. What one theme is always included in your books? So along with the like overcoming things, really I would say my biggest theme is hope. Hope is always there in some form, even if it's not the way you thought it was going to be. You know, I guess along those lines of like Kira, where, you know, hope is the idea of, you know, defeating the bad and being with her family. But then I kind of tremble her family, and how she ends up in the end is not the way she thought, but it's still a sign of hope. It's still the sign of progress and a happy future, even if it's not the future that she thought it was going to be and planned it's going to be. There's still happiness and progress. So, yeah, hope is a big thing, and really all of its definitions of hope, because I feel like we tend to see hope as like a one-dimensional thing. It's the nice shiny thing at the end. It's the best positive outlook, but in reality, hope, love, all these positive words really can have multiple definitions, and they're also very determined on you as a person. Your hope can be very different from somebody else's. Um, so yeah, number 3, cranberry sauce. What genre do you wish you could write and haven't yet? So I've talked a lot about like genres I don't think I'd ever write, which is like horror, mystery, like thriller. I do enjoy a good like suspense mystery. Like I like Dan Brown's books, but I don't enjoy horror. Um, I don't I don't enjoy that aspect in a like TV sense. I'm slightly getting into it as a gaming sense, but I'm still terrified and not 100% enjoy it. Um, I don't think I would write it for those reasons. But a genre that I think I would like to have as like a positive spin on this, because it's kind of what you're supposed to do. I think I would be interested in the future of doing like a middle grade. Uh, I think it would be fun to explore. Right now, though, I am happy doing adult, and I do have a couple ideas for maybe like a YA in the future, whether I keep it as YA or make it adult. That's future me's problem. I did start off writing a YA that I did end up putting on a back burner, which who knows, maybe I'll come back to. But middle grade I think would be fun and interesting, but at the same time I'm not sure. I've read a little bit of middle grade, but I don't know. I feel like that group, that generation is changing so much, and it tends to be the generation that changes and gets influenced a lot by like how society's functioning and technology and stuff like that. That I could see it being hard to keep up with. I don't know. And I really, when I was that age, I did read like classic middle grade books about like animals and stuff like that, but I was also reading like classics and adult books and, or like teen books. That's what I do, teen books. So I don't know. And I do know that is an issue. I've seen other middle grade authors talk about that, but middle grade is really this weird zone to write for, but it is necessary. I don't know. We'll see. That's probably a long time from now, but it would be interesting to mess around with, especially being as a lot of middle grade and YA authors are transitioning to adults. So we'll see. Question number 4. Family. What platform has best helped you thus far? So, as I said, besides doing this writing channel, wanting to be a traditionally published author, I'm also a gamer, and I stream playing games. I do also edit things down, and I have some gaming videos on this channel in particular. but I also stream. I enjoy streaming. I love streaming. I love interacting with people live. I love talking. You can tell by some of my videos that I literally call myself out for and say I ramble. But the platforms that really have helped me this year would be Twitch and YouTube on a streaming basis. Streaming on Twitch and YouTube, doing writing sprints has been so grateful. I mean, not grateful, so wonderful, so helpful. I've been able to get through a lot of work, especially when I tend to be like, oh, I need to edit a video, I need to do this, I need to do that. But if I decide that on my stream I'm going to sprint and write, it's easier for me than going to someone else's, unfortunately, because then I can make the excuse of, oh, I'm going to talk to people in chat, or oh, I'm going to do edit a video or do something else and not write. But if it's my stream, and we're doing writing, it's much easier for me to be like, this is dedicated writing time for sure, because other people are doing it with me. So I really, really enjoy that. And I've found a lot of other streamers on Twitch that are starting to do writing sprints too, as the writing community starts to embed itself into Twitch more, it seems like. So, see? Question number 5. Travel. What era do you most like to write about? So, the future, really, because I'm writing a lot of sci-fi right now. But I also like to do a lot of fantasy that's inspired by like Roman and Greek times, a little bit of the Dark Ages ish. But really, I love the Latin language and Greek and Roman mythology, and mythology in general. I've talked a lot about how I greatly enjoy mythology. So I like to take inspiration from the times when mythology was run as religion and law and truth, and have inspiration from those times uh, into my work, mostly in fantasy, but names can be reused and flipped around and re-scrambled for sci-fi as well. So in the future, but if I'm going to write a fantasy, it's probably going to have inspirations of ancient times. So question number 6. Holiday music. What genre of music do you listen to when you're writing? I used to write to like jazz and blues and like soft music, but I've gotten recently into ambient music and sounds. Um, I've made, you can, yeah, they're public. You can find them on my channel. I've made a playlist of like writing music to rain, and it has a range of being just generally inspired water rain sounds to sounds from like fantasy books and movies and Disney stuff, like in that range. And then I also have a few videos on like that particular playlist that pay homage to Native American um, feelings. I also have a little Halloween playlist, a Christmas playlist. I'm in the process of trying to do a little bit of like a sci-fi, spacey playlist. So I do that, but I also, when I'm sprinting, if I can help it, I try to sprint to timers that have music. So really whatever sound comes to the timers as well, being that the majority of my writing is done on lives. But if I am going to write on my own, I end up using one of my playlists depending on how I'm feeling that day or what do I think is going to be more inspiring. Question number 7. Decorations. What is your favorite way to create mood boards? So I never really used mood boards before. It wasn't really a thing that I did, but I just recently, when I announced the title for The Princess and the Warrior. I made a mood board of like the general feel of the novel with uh, two characters that I thought represented the main character and the love interest, Kira and Nigel. So, but I had never done that before. So I did a lot of asking for people's advice and re-looking at other people's mood boards and what they did and how they did it. Uh, and I used Canva and Pinterest. I used Canva for like the layout and a couple of the pictures, and then I used Pinterest for the rest of the pictures, which is what I had a suggestion for on Twitter in a Discord. I don't even remember where I asked. I think I may have even asked in a couple of places, and I don't remember where I got an answer from. But they recommended doing, if I couldn't find what I wanted in Canva, to go to Pinterest. So that is what I did. Question number 8. Traditions. What traditions do you use in your books that are from your own life? So, I have been mentioning this in a few vlogs now about me trying to explore my heritage and connect to my roots of uh, like the Aztec people and the environment and the mythology, including the Native American tribe that I believe that I'm associated with, and what is a common thread in most Native not languages, Native cultures is ancestors. And I have always had a special feeling, a relationship when it comes to spirits and ghosts and beyond and things like that. With my mother saying that she always felt that I was sensitive to things and my own interesting, weird experiences. So I am hoping this first book doesn't have too much of it, but I'm hoping my next ones will, where there's definitely going to be an influence in some way having to do with ancestors, whether it's paying homage to ancestors, wanting to be respectful of them, or it being a religion of something. I want to be tied into that somehow. Question number 9. Leftovers. Have you ever returned to an old book idea? No, not yet. I like I said, I have a YA book that's in the back burner that I don't think would really work as an adult book at all, unless it's like a crossover book, but definitely would be a YA book because it does take place while she is in high school, and it's influenced by Princess Diaries, so it would not make sense if I put it in like college or something. So yeah. And then I have another book that it was actually a short story that I had two different teachers say would work better if I made it into a book, because I left so many questions in the short story where they wanted answers to, and they're like, you should just turn this into a book. That if I did go back to an idea, it would probably be that one where I would have to do a lot of research because I made a mess of it for myself, and B, it's the one that would be most exciting in the sense of I could do a lot with it versus the YA that I started writing in middle school, high school, that is pretty straightforward, and I've know the rough idea of the story. It kind of does follow the Princess Diaries, which probably means it's more of a fan fiction than an actual book, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I have many ideas of fresh things coming that I want to write that are probably going to be more of a priority than going to ideas that I started in high school and middle school that I have just put to the side. Question number 10. Gratitude. What are your most great, what? Question number 5. Gratitude. What are you most grateful for when it comes to your writing? I am most grateful for that I had people in my life that were encouraging to me, saying that my writing had value, and helping me see that even though I have dyslexia and I had a learning disability, that didn't have to control how I viewed my creativity. It didn't have to define how I wrote and my ability to write, especially when I did give up on writing for a certain amount of time because there was still this lack of technology help. I enjoyed creating stories. I made stories in my head constantly. And this is probably why I never actually wrote fan fiction, because my father was very strict on our computer use and our access to the internet for multiple reasons, but also he was very protective of us. And also, like spell check and that kind of technology was still very much in its infancy. And I didn't know how to use it as well because I was a middle schooler. And because of that, we still, did a lot of things by hand, writing by hand, doing, homework by hand, and I hated it. I hated uh, actual writing because of that. I loved stories. I loved reading. I loved creating stories in my head, but I hated writing down things because I didn't always know how to spell words or how to write things out. And I still have problems with sentence structure to this day. And I felt like I could never write a book, even though I wanted to, because of that. And if it wasn't for my teachers in high school who helped me with my dad get better at using the computer to write and do schoolwork, and my teachers encouraging me and helping me explore the internet more, that I realized that it's okay. And that's when I started writing that first book that was inspired by Princess Diaries. And then I had a teacher who would look at chapters or after chapters, and she would write notes about it and give me advice. And then she was the same one that offered for me to apply to the short story competition that I ended up not getting, but it was that same short story that her and then my senior teacher, who was actually also a college professor, because we were doing like a dual credit class, who was like, I would just expand this, make this into a book. You have a talent and it's really good. Your creativity is big, and just go for it. And if it wasn't for them, I probably would have never got this far. I would have never had stories. I would have constantly just been an airhead with my head in the clouds without any anchoring. And now I'm still an airhead and still have my head in the clouds as I'm creating and thinking about projects and ideas, but I have an anchor. I have a way to channel that. And before I didn't. I just floated around and tried to find value in reading when I needed to read and write. I needed a way to express my own creativity. So yeah, I'm most grateful for that. I'm most grateful for them. And my parents, to the degree that they could be encouraging while still being afraid and wanting to make sure I still had a life and I could make money and have a career. but definitely, especially when at the time in high school, it was a little bit easier for me to do poetry. My parents were very encouraging about my poetry. My dad always being willing to read it, whatever I wrote. They attended um, readings that I did. We had a arts festival every year at school, and I not competed, it wasn't a competition, but I contributed to the poetry sessions during our festival at school. So yeah, and poetry is something I'm still thinking about introducing to the channel, or maybe just on my newsletter, or just on my Ko-fi or something. Um, but it's another thing for me to do, so we'll see. But yeah, so that is the Thanksgiving writing tag, and I'm putting this out right before Thanksgiving, so which is later than I wanted. A and B, it's just what happens. So first of all, I tag whoever wants to do this. If you're able to get it up before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving, that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to wait till next year, you find this next year and want to do it. But I will say, I will tag, like always, my core group. I'll tag April K, and she'll be linked down below. I tag her, and I also tag Esther Marie, and I'll tag Moon. Why not? She tagged me in a different one that, yes, I haven't done yet. I did this first, but I'm gonna do hers next month when I have more time. But yeah, if you're seeing this later and it's already past Thanksgiving, girls, that's fine. You know, do it late or do it next year, whatever you want to do. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my tag, and uh, thank you for watching my tag, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit more about me and my story process as a storyteller, because I'm a storyteller, you're a storyteller, we're all storytellers telling our story in any form possible. And if you're interested in following my journey as a writer, as a game player, as a storyteller, hit the subscribe button, go down, follow my links, check out my Twitch, where you can interact with me live while I'm doing sprints and playing games. And yeah, and if not, and you don't have anything to say or comment, you can just leave a salute down in the comments below. Let me know they're here. But as that's it, I'll see you later. Tell stories and prosper.